So after 6 years away, he has finally returned home. Welcome to episode 1 of our FIFA 22 career mode with Barcelona as Xavi Hernandez. So welcome everyone, we are here ready to go. It is episode 1 of a brand new career mode series here on the channel. My name's Ash, you'll know me as Brommer18. If you're new to the channel, welcome along. What we like to do on this channel here is we're all about realism, and that is why you will see this is a realistic career mode series with Barcelona. What do we mean by realistic? Well, we're going to go into that all along this episode today, but first things first, before we do get into anything, I would just like to let you know that this video is brought to you by my Patreon. Check out my Patreon. Great way to support the channel. Lots of incredible perks for you guys to get stuck into. We cover lots of real tactics here on the series where we replicate real systems in game. We have a FIFA 22 tactics package for them where it gives you a deeper breakdown, ratings, rankings, lots of good stuff like that, along with lots of other perks such as joining my Discord server, access to all sorts like early videos and releases, all stuff like that, behind the scenes videos, stuff on PES.21 tactics packages as well, a whole range of great stuff. You do go and check out those perks if you haven't done so already. So then, let's get into the career mode. First things first, let me talk to you about what you can expect from this episode and the series as a whole, where we're going to go through a lot of stuff today, such as tactics, transfers, the whole realistic area. And then in terms of games, we're going to do the first game of the season at home against Real Sociedad, just to get a feel, just to get ourselves set in and stuck into the series. And then going forward in future episodes, what you can expect is a lot of post-com highlights. So the likes of these games will all be grouped together and we'll talk about them at the end. And we'll sprinkle in the occasional live commentary in the career mode along the way as well, in the big games such as the El Clasicos, Atletico Madrid's, all that sort of good stuff, Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So you can see a lot of range in games, really try to condensed into an episode. We've got other career mode episodes on the series, such as the Dortmund career mode, which is still ongoing as recording this. For anyone who watches that, don't worry, that series will run alongside this one as well, so it's all good there. So now that we've got the notifications, and let's talk about the career mode itself. So congratulations to Xavi, first of all, on getting the big job that we knew he was always going to get, let's face it. And with that appointment has come a turning point for the club after the Ronald Koeman era. And that's what we're really going to try and get at. We want this to be as realistic as possible, and we're going to do that. So first things first, we'll talk about the tactics very briefly. We'll go into stuff like the finances, the philosophy, the youth academy, all that stuff. So with the tactics itself, obviously we are going to revert back to what Barcelona is known as, that Tiki-Taka total football style and influence system. We've seen Xavi do it at Al Sadd in the short time he was there as manager, and he's going to do that and carry that over to Barcelona. They need to get back to what they're known for, away from that Koeman, getting the ball out wide and crossing it into De Jong, really. So that's what you're going to see in action. We're going to do a lot in terms of the system in place. We're not going to go through a deep dive on the tactics. I'll do that in another video, but just give you a quick overview. As you can see, very much inspired by Xavi's system, by total football, that Tiki-Taka Barcelona way of playing. That's what you're going to see. We're going to go with a 4-3-3. We're going to have one more of a Cam who's playing that more advanced midfielder role, kind of like Iniesta. Really what we're going to try and do is try and recreate that Xavi and Iniesta midfield, and then we'll have sort of more of a deep lying playmaker as a result. In terms of the squad, as you can see, they're a little bit tired because I've just done pre-season and training as well, but we want to utilise the youth players, the young players. La Masia, we need to get back to that. We've got an incredible youth academy, so much talent coming through the ranks, some incredible youngsters here. No more than in my midfield, where you can see Pedri and Ricky Puig as well. Some incredibly talented players. You've got the likes of Ansu Fati. Elsewhere, looking down the list, there are other players. Mingueza out of the academy, of course. You've got Gavi, you've got Gonzalez, you've got Balde. There's a whole range of players here that we can make use of. And that's what we want to do. We want to try and breed through these youngsters, get back to that. And that's what Xavi, I feel, is going to try and do as well. In terms of the career mode, I wouldn't call it a full-on rebuild. I'd probably call it more of a retool. if that's the right word to use, you know, because we do have the players here, and like I say, we've got a lot of the young players here. We just need to get back to that system, that way of playing, back to the philosophy. We need to tweak things. Obviously, we have the financial elements, which we are going to talk about shortly, and we're going to have to learn to deal with that. What about squad rules, squad registration rules? As we say, we want it to be realistic, and that's something I'm going to look to implement into this career mode. In La Liga, you're only allowed a maximum of 25 players registered. Any players above that have to be through the youth academy. So maybe players who've played in Barcelona B can then come into the side, such as Gonzalez, for instance. Now, obviously, we don't have Barcelona B on this, so we're going to do that in terms of the youth academy. Any players we promote from the youth academy will be allowed extra, but sticking with those La Liga squad registration rules, it is a maximum of 25 players. You're also only allowed a maximum of 5 non-EU players, and also only a maximum of, I believe, 4 in the matchday squad. Now, obviously, there are elements that, you know, we can't control in this, such as someone like Ronald Araujo, for instance, is obviously from Uruguay, but he might have Spanish citizenship. Coutinho, obviously from Brazil, but he has Portuguese citizenship and therefore is an EU registered player. So these are elements that we are going to have to look into, and I'm going to try and deal with along the way, but that is just something worth bearing in mind as well. Now let's talk about the finances. In terms of La Liga rules, you are only allowed to spend 70% of your turnover on wages each year, and that is a very strict rule, and that is why we have seen Barcelona, you know, into some of the money troubles that they are in. Now let's talk about those money troubles. You know, in terms of the wages, that's something we can easily keep an eye on. We can have a look in the finances here, see how much we're earning, and see how much the wages are coming out. Now, at the moment, we are absolutely fine, but obviously, we've sold a lot of stuff, such as season tickets. All the shirt sales will really happen at the start of the season. So those wages will really catch up to the earnings. But as long as we are spending 70% or less on wages as a part of our turnover, we will be fine. So what about the overall money issue then? We know the problems that Barcelona are in. They are in huge debt. You know, they're struggling for cash flow. There's a whole range of things. They're obviously trying to do stuff to the new camp as well on top of that, that is causing issues. And overall, we know that they're just going to struggle to sign players. And so, as a result, you know, this season, don't expect to see any signings whatsoever. You know, we have to keep this realistic. We've got to try and balance the books. And we're going to talk about players very shortly in terms of the transfer list, etc., who we're going to try and get rid of. You know, we've got to try and balance the books. We've got to try and cut the wage bill. We've got to try and cut the expenditure and return back to normal. Now, obviously, now that they're seeing more crowds and stuff, you will see an upturn in the turnover. But there's still that issue. We've got to try and balance the books. They're obviously in $1 billion worth of debt. You know, that can be dealt with. That can be kicked down the road. All sorts of stuff. You can take on more debt, etc. But there's still a massive issue. So this season, like I say, no signings. And in terms of balancing the books, selling players, you know, we've got to look to try and shift players on. And you're going to see me try to be as realistic about that as possible. So, for example, the likes of Samuel Umtiti, for instance, I think he's a decent player, but they are trying to offload him in real life. You know, no one's buying because they know the situation they're in. He's on big money. They want big money for him. And it's not going to happen. So when we try and sell these players, you know, we're going to accept cut values for them. I'm going to try and negotiate cut prices for these guys because we just need to get them off the wage bill. There's a lot of players here who are in the same issue. Coutinho is another one. They're trying to offload. As you can see, Paris Saint-Germain have made an offer for him. I'll talk about that very shortly. But it's the same with others as well. We've got Griezmann out on loan. You know, again, we've got to try and get rid of him when he comes back from Atletico Madrid. Same with the likes of De Jong and stuff. You know, that signing, baffling. But again, as I say, we've got to try and cut the wage bill. You know, Ousmane Dembele, very good in this game. Contract's expiring in less than 12 months. The question is, do we extend that? Because in real life, he's very injury prone. They're not able to extend because of this money issue they're in, and they can't spend more on wages. So that's another area that we've got to look at, and we've got to decide, do we carry on with this? Do we release him? And, you know, for that realistic element, you know, are they going to extend him? He's very injury prone, and he's got that trait in this as well. So we'll have to see how he plays out. But for now, you know, it's a little bit up in the air. We also have to look at some of the older veteran players as well, the likes of PK, Busquets, of course, been incredible servants to this club over their careers. But we have to start beginning the process of moving these guys on now. Busquets is 33 years old, PK is 34 years old. You know, these guys are coming to the end of their careers. They're in the twilight now. We have to start looking to bed them out of the team and blend in new players. Frenkie de Jong I see as the defensive midfielder of this team. Now, he's been messed around a little bit in the Koeman era. You know, he's been played at further forward in more advanced central midfield roles. You know, that's all wrong. You know, for me, he has to be the defensive midfielder. His strengths are bringing the ball out from the back, playing on the turn, linking the defence with the midfield. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to look to get the best out of him, you know, to play him further up the field, particularly when we've got so many other young, talented players in those positions, like Pedri, like Puig, like Xavi, Gonzalez. You know, that would be a disservice to him. So he has to be that defensive midfielder. And as a result, he'll take Busquets' place, you know, and we'll start to bed him in more and blend Busquets out of the field. Now, they'll still get time, of course, you know, they are the leaders of the team. PK's still in there, he's played the pre-season. So, you know, it's not that we're totally not going to play them, but we just have to start to look to, you know, elsewhere. Here's a quick look at the settings that we're going to use for this game. As you can see, we disabled the first transfer window, so if we do sell any players, they will still be with us until the January window. Of course, trying to keep with the team that everyone has signed. We're now out of that summer transfer window. Again, elsewhere, you can see the likes disabling international offers, strict transfer policy. Elsewhere, you've got us on Legendary as well. Obviously, on Ultimate, the gameplay is pretty much broken. However, I am using my own custom sliders to try and make it more, not only realistic, but also more challenging on Legendary as well. And I'm hoping to have a video out on them in the next week or so, still tweaking with them a little bit. So that is worth bearing in mind. A quick look at the objectives for the season, even though they are the most baffling. You know, youth development, nothing, even though it's high priority. You know, Barcelona, brand exposure, you know, like sign free players from South America, but then like reach the final of the Champions League, win the league title. Like, seriously, that's your objective? You know, pretty terrible. The only realistic one is the financial, where you've got to reduce player wages by 200,000 a week. Other than that, it's a bit of a mess. You know, these should not be objectives. You know, we've got to retool, as I say. We need to restabilise, get into the Champions League, the top four, restabilise the squad, develop the players, get them into a state where they are capable of performing in the first team on a regular basis. You know, we can't be looking at titles. Now, if we do happen to get any, great, in the first season. But, you know, we have to be realistic and acknowledge that's going to be a very tough ask, and not the most likely. So we spoke about transfers earlier, and we spoke about taking cut deals. Now, they've been trying to off Philippe Coutinho for like 2 years, and no one's coming for him. Now, PSG aren't going to come along and suddenly offer 34 million. We need to take a severely reduced price for Philippe Coutinho, and when I say severely, I mean this needs to be something minuscule, like 5 million, because there's just no way they're going to take him in when they've been trying to offload him for so much. And teams know that they're in big financial trouble, and therefore they try and exploit that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a little bit of control over the situation, and we're going to negotiate a much smaller transfer fee. We're going to go under 10 million euros, and we're going to set it to something like, I don't know, say 6 million. And we're going to go with that. Obviously, they will accept that. They'll have no problem. But this is the sort of area that we are looking at. Again, we've had an offer for Moussa Vague as well, and it's going to be a similar situation. You know, 5 million for him. They won't get it. They just won't get it. So again, with the transfer offer, we're going to lower this one. We're going to do something like 1.5 million, and again, they'll have no problem with that. In terms of his role in the squad, I am happy to move him on, because I do see us already with a lot of options at right back. We've got Serginho Dest, we've got Sergi Roberto, we've also got Mingueza as well, who can play at right back. So there are lots of options there. So for him, I see his role, you know, quite small if he was to stay here. So in that sense, you know, happy to move these two on. Elsewhere, we've transfer listed quite a few players. Obviously, the obvious ones like Martin Braithwaite, Samuel Umtiti, etc., getting them off. You know, we've also listed for loan a couple of players, the 2 young keepers, Tenyas and Pena as well as Ruiz Atil. All of these guys looking to loan them out, just get them a little bit more, you know, playing time where there might be a little bit reduced. In terms of a couple of others who we transfer listed, such as Pereira, you know, not the highest potential, already 23 years old now. Same with Collado as well. Neto is also up for sale. That's because I see the backup keepers being these two, you know, Pena and Tenas. So there's no point in keeping him around when he's on, you know, a lot of money. When we've got these two, I just don't see the point of it, particularly as he's a non-EU player as well. So, you know, we look to get him off the books, and we want to promote more of these homegrown, you know, Spanish players as well. So what about the youth staff then? Well, we have all 3 scouts in action, as you can see here, 1 in Spain, 1 in Cameroon, and 1 in Argentina. So what the thinking is behind here is I want each scout to basically be in a different continent. Obviously we can only have 3 scouts, which means we only cover 3 continents. So we of course have 1 in Europe, and that will generally be Spain as we look for those homegrown players. And then elsewhere, South America, an obvious one again, we've got him in Argentina again for obvious reasons, and then also for Africa as well. If you guys have any other suggestions for that, if you'd prefer them to be, you know, something like Brazil, Portugal, North America, then let me know. You know, I did kind of want to cover Africa as well. You know, they've had Cameroonian players in the past, whether they're out of the youth academy or not, they have still had them, and African players in general. So yeah, again, it's something we're going to look at, but again, I'm always open to any suggestions. We do also have a few players in the youth team, as we already got our youth scout report in. We'll keep an eye on these along the road. What I do is I wait till they're fully developed, which is when basically they only have a very small potential range, so it might be say like 88 to 94. And whenever I promote a player from the youth academy, they always have to be 94 potential. And the reason why I do that is not only so you can get the maximum player, but also because most players will regress from 94. So therefore, it's a lot harder to get players promoted at that level, which means it's a bit more realistic. You know, you're not going to have just a bunch of players each year coming through who have this, you know, world-class elite potential. So we're always looking for those refined players who have 94 potential and then a minimum of, you know, 80 plus. But usually they're refined to say like 85, 86, 87, 88, etc. There's also an update on the transfers as well. Philippe Coutinho has gone to PSG, but he won't, of course, leave until January, so 6 million euros there. We also had a loan offer for Tenyas from Rangers, but it was a loan to buy offer. I'm not looking to sell him at the end of it. I just want him to get a loan out, get some first team experience, so we did reject that one. And also negotiations broke down with Cagliari as well for Wague, so he is still here for now. And with that, we are through to the first game of the season. It is against Real Sociedad, and I'm really excited for it. Like I say, just the one game today. A quick talk about the lineup. The 4-3-3, as you can see, this is the team that we're going with, very much a team that I've had my eye on. Now, naturally, we're starting with PK because I want that leader, and yes, it doesn't have much effect in FIFA, but again, as a realistic proposition, you know, I want to have a captain figure in the team, and, you know, it is a little bit worrying. We're playing a very high line. He is quite slow, but, you know, we want to try and retain possession as much as possible, and hopefully that will get us through the game. Other than that, though, it's great to see Puig and Pedri starting in the midfield as well. Excited for them. Serginho Dest, Ronald Araujo as well. So there's a lot to be excited about with this team. Like I say, I'll talk about the tactics in a later video. Just want to see how they work out for now. And yeah, without further ado, I don't think there's much more to say. Let's do this. Good to see a real good test in Real Sociedad in Xavi's first game as manager. As a recording this, they are doing very well in the league, looking strong indeed, and I expect that to be exactly the same today. These are a very good side, and we'll certainly have to be looking at our best as we go through this new era at the club. So Depay will get us underway then. Let's see how we do in the first game of the season. Really good ball out wide to Serginho Dest. Now there's an opportunity. He's looking for support. Going to look for a 1-2 with Dembele. Dembele will feed it in. Depay's there. Good save from the keeper, and early on that's a good opportunity. Pedri, good little shimmy from him. Oh, he's got to do better. Oh, that is a really good ball to Alexander Isak, who's in. He's got the pace on Piqué here. He'll look to chip it over the keeper. And it's 1-0 Real Sociedad. We mentioned it before the game. Piqué, his pace is going to be easily exploitable. And there it was in full swing. Alexander Isak, one run, a ball down the middle. And that was enough to get them in on goal. Keeper ter Stegen can't do enough to put him off as he dinks it over the keeper. A really nice finish, and it's so disappointing. Really, really disappointing. We may have to drop the line a little bit to try and supplement Piqué here, actually, because that's just going to be an issue, quite clearly. We're going to drop the depth off a little bit. We're going to go down to 80 here and hope that, you know, that will see a little bit of improvement. Really disappointing start. Fati. There's a ball onto Depay now, making a really good run down the middle, and he's through here. This is a really good opportunity. Depay to make it 1-1, and does. Composed in front of goal. No mistake in that one. And Memphis Depay in the 36th minute gets us back into the game. 1-1 now. Really good run from him. Fatu sees the run and sends him through. Defenders nearly caught up with him. Does that centre back, but he manages to maintain his pace and produces a good finish past the keeper. 1-1. Oh, really nice play. Depay into Dembele. There's a ball over the top here. Pedri's making that running behind. It's a wonderful ball. And this is an opportunity for two. I can't believe he's missed. I cannot believe he's missed. Everything about that goal was brilliant, other than the finish. And I'm absolutely shocked that Pedri has not put that away. Half time here. It is 1-1. A poor start, disappointing start for us. Piqué getting exploited with the ball in behind. We responded well though. You know, other than that, you know, we've played quite well. What I would say also is, on the instructions here, I might take aggressive interceptions off Araujo, because it's just leaving Piqué exposed a little bit as well. Hopefully we can try and help him out in that sense as well. Other than that, no changes. Let's go into the second half and see what we've got. Piqué will come out wide here. We'll end up at Araujo. Serginho Dest looking for that ball to Dembele and finds him as well. Dembele looking to isolate his man. Does really, really well. Does Ousmane Dembele. He's going to lay it off. Depay's there. Great save from the keeper to deny Memphis Depay getting his second of the game. Perhaps he should do better there, but take nothing away from that really good save. Still 1-1. De Jong. Oh, this is really well won. And another through ball to Depay. Can he make it two for him? He can indeed. And he makes it two for Barcelona as well. Almost a carbon copy of the first goal. He finds space through the middle and makes a really good run. And it's a fantastic through ball yet again. We win possession back well. Having a look, it's Pedri with the through ball to him this time around. Gets it onto his right foot and laces it past the keeper. Another well-worked goal. And I have to say, it has been coming. On that note, we're going to make one or two changes here. We're going to bring Puig off. Starting to get a little bit tired. We're going to bring on Xavi in place for him. The same with Araujo as well. I don't like taking centre-backs off if I can help it. But as you can see, he's getting very tired here. So we are going to bring on... Have a look here, Clement Langley. We're going to swap these around as well to get them on their favoured side. 2-1. He'll come into Fati. Oh, it's terrible, terrible control from Ansu Fati. Leaves us in a bit of issue. He's going to try and work to try and regain possession now, as they send it through to Isaac, who has caused us problems all day long. Little bit of space opening up in the central areas. That's it as well. Oh, why is there so much space centrally? Really, really disappointing. I spotted it and no one fills it in. Everyone runs out the way. That's so disappointing. Have another look here. Really poor. The central midfielders have got to fill in. You know, if the centre-back gets dragged out wide, you know, you've got to help him out. Really poor. Serginho Dest as well has got to be marking him. And it's just something that's just an issue. Really disappointing. Oh, that's a really poor touch. And it stopped the attack, and it's full time in the end. A disappointing result, it has to be said. We knew it was a tough game, but we've just victims of our own demise, really. You know, the makers of our own demise. Really disappointing defensively. You know, we'll obviously look to fix that. You know, we kept possession quite well, and that was, you know, part of defending. But, you know, it's just simple stuff that was able to, the opposition were able to exploit, particularly on the counter-attack. So that's something we'll work on. We'll improve that tactically. We'll try and make some changes, and there's something to build on. Again, like I say, a lot of young players who are still developing in this team as well, so it will take a bit of time. But again, a bit disappointing. So with the first game having been and gone, that will do us for the first episode. I really hope you guys enjoy it. We'll go into more depth on all sorts of different stuff, the training, different players in the squad, etc. throughout the course of the series and over the next few episodes as well. In the next episode, what you can expect, we're going to play a whole bunch of these games, have them in a post-com format, and then probably come back for a live com on this game at the start of October against Atletico Madrid. So a very, very big game, and one that I'm looking forward to. In the meantime, we're going to play a whole host of these games. Let me know what you think of the series, any suggestions, any feedback. All of that is appreciated. Make sure, if you do enjoy it, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload. Don't forget to check out my Patreon as well. Lots of great perks and rewards on there. Come join me in the Discord server for that as well. Really good speaking to you guys and getting just lots of good stuff and good feedback as well. So make sure to check that out. Check out any links in the description, such as my Twitter. Give me a follow on there, as well as links to my second channel for Football Manager 2022 videos, and also affiliate links to all of my stuff, gear, equipment, PC, gaming parts, all that good stuff. Gives the channel a little kickback, and it is a great way to support without paying any more. On that note, we're going to round off the first episode there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.